Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of the Shut Your Mouth Lounge podcast. Obviously, I'm here, Alex, and I've got with me Addie
Potwiggle.
and Pink.
Hey!
Today, we will be talking about Soul Calibur 6, Smite. There's a new Breaking Benjamin album out, I think, and Pink's really into those guys, so I'm just going to let him have some space to talk about them. And of course, we're going to go over what we've done in the past week. We're going to aim for it to be a shorter episode today.
What should be 7 hours?
Yeah, every time we say it's going to be a short episode, it winds up being 2.5.
Like normal episode length.
Yeah, exactly. Because it turns out we can stretch 4 topics into a whole podcast, but whenever we actually set out like 7 or 8 topics, we just mow right through them. It's ridiculous. Alright, let's go ahead and talk about Soul Calibur 6. It's kind of relevant right now because they just announced Siegfried. Which, I mean, Siegfried being in the game isn't exactly a shocker by any means.
This is post-Nightmare Siegfried, like just post-Nightmare Siegfried, right?
Well, the thing is, this is supposed to be set in the chronology between Soul Calibur 1 and Soul Calibur 2, correct?
Yeah,
I don't know, that's
is
why I'm
he
asking.
pre-Nightmare?
This should be during Nightmare, because it was the ending of Soul Calibur 1 where Siegfried got Soul Edge and became Nightmare, if I'm correct.
Yeah, and killed his dad, or something like that.
He killed his dad before. I think killing his dad was Siegfried's origin story.
Oh,
I may be wrong. It's been a while since I've been too interested in Soul Calibur lore. But Soul Calibur 2 was very definitely the period that was Siegfried Nightmare.
oh yeah, because he even had the Siegfried alternate costume for Nightmare.
Yeah, the alternate costume where he'd be a shirtless Siegfried, but still have the Nightmare arm.
Yeah.
To me, Siegfried Nightmare was the best time period for Nightmare because I'm a Nightmare main, so for me, that's the best time to be Nightmare. Because Nightmare past that point is just generic, flat, big evil, and Soul Calibur 2 Nightmare actually had some depth because he was still a horrible monster, but the fact that he was Siegfried underneath that made it way more interesting.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the problem with Nightmare is that nobody gets turned into Nightmare anymore. Like, if it won Yonder, it was Mitsurugi or something.
In Soul Calibur 5, both Raphael and, what's her name? Sophidia's daughter, they both became Nightmare.
Um,
It was only 3
wait,
and it was only
yeah?
3 and 4 where Nightmare didn't have a host, and I thought that was pretty stupid too. But it was what it was.
Yeah.
Raphael
I was
became
a fan
Nightmare.
of the
Yes,
no host in there, because like you said, in 3 and 4, when he's just the big evil, he isn't interesting whatsoever. It's just sort of there, and you don't care about it.
yeah, he's like every Japanese villain that's just like Siegfried, and that's it. I must get more souls, or whatever Nightmare usually says when he doesn't feel like having any depth. And it kind of beats the whole idea of Soul Edge being that universe is kind of equivalent to the One Ring of Lord of the Rings, right? Where it's supposed to be this
Yeah.
corrupting influence, making it an independent thing. Like, imagine if the Ring fucking got up and started talking and walking and fighting in Lord of the Rings. That would have been different and fucked up the whole idea of the story.
Yeah. Also, does the anime yell mean that they're gonna fight at freaking Final Valley, Siegfried and Nightmare?
The what?
Final Valley.
No, I got that part. You said, like, anime L or something.
Oh, because Nightmare, the anime yell. Because he did the anime yell where they yell each other's names as they freaking run at each other or something.
Oh, right. I'm assuming you made a reference to some stupid anime there?
Yes.
Okay. I I hope Nightmare has a host in this game. They might. It's difficult to say because the way they phrase the description of this game makes it sound like it's not going to be a reboot. It's not going to be like analyzing what could have been. It's not going to be a what if story like I expected. And it makes it sound more like it's going to be, hey, this is some shit that happened between Soul Calibur 1 and 2 off screen, and now it's happening on screen. which makes me then question how Nightmare and Siegfried can be different characters if this is supposed to be the time period where they're supposed to be one and the same.
Yeah, that is interesting.
I suppose they could do it like it could just be a thing where Siegfried is in the game as a separate character just for anyone who mains Siegfried but doesn't like Nightmare's playstyle. Because Nightmare has his whole thing of like he's got a whole his kick arsenal is much more based around that big stupid arm, of course. And he doesn't have as much focus on the stance switching as Siegfried does.
Yep.
So I guess that's kind of just there for people who want to play vanilla Siegfried. In the same way that Injustice now, like Joker's been dead in the Injustice canon for years. But they keep putting Joker in the Injustice games, even though he has no place in it. Like Pink.
This reminds me, Injustice 2 Joker hair. We'll come back to this later.
Yeah, so I mean, like Pink, you've been playing through Injustice 2, and you probably played through the story mode and were like, why does Joker just show up for one fight?
Yeah.
Which, I mean, admittedly, the same can be said of Atrocitus, because Atrocitus just shows up for one fight, and he just shows up in Atlantis, and Hal beats his ass, and it's like, what was the point of that?
Yeah. Like, at times you can see that they didn't really flesh out the story entirely, because it feels like they just had a bunch of toys in the toy chest and threw them all together and looked to see if anything cool could happen, but didn't have much use afterward.
Yeah, they wanted to fit a roster in, like, somebody at NetherRealm saw Atrocitus and was like, oh, a Red Lantern that vomits blood, that shit's the coolest, let's get him in. Can we fit him anywhere in the story? Fuck no. Okay, we'll just weasel him in somehow.
Yeah.
And Joker, similarly, he's dead. He can't fit in, but they've put in a stupid nightmare sequence to fit him in anyways.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that's probably what they're going to end up doing with Injustice 3, again for Joker, and also probably for Lex Luthor, because Luthor was in Injustice 1, he fucking died in Injustice 1, and it'll be weird for Lex Luthor to have only been around for one of the Injustice games. Then again, I'm
waiting the Shazam nightmare scene.
They'll probably try and fit Shazam into Injustice 3 somehow because of the movie, yeah. Which for me, I'll be happy with that because I actually played Shazam a lot in the first Injustice. But I don't know. I think there is a definite goofy thing to NetherRealm with Injustice because they're trying to fit in a lot. It's obvious cases like Atrocitus where they wanted him to be in the game even though he didn't fit. And it's also obvious cases where they want to cut out Lex Luthor because they don't like him, and cut out Shazam because he's too goody-goody, and they want to make Superman a big evil because Ed Boon is a hardcore 90s edgelord, and, you know, he doesn't want goody-goodies like Superman or Shazam in his game. But yet he portrays Batman as being Mr. Morally Perfect.
Yep.
Injustice is like the only case left in modern... Like, the rest of DC has caught on to the fact that they have made Batman too perfect and are now going the opposite direction and making him relatively pathetic compared to the rest of the league. Injustice is the only thing DC really has going now that still has Bat-God in full force. Because like I'm reminded of a panel from the Super Sons comic, which is the comic about Damian Wayne and Superman's son. Not Jonathan Kent. What's the kid's name? Fuck, I don't know. It's irrelevant. All I know is the Superboy goes up to Clark and he tells him, hey, can I stay out late tonight? Damian's dad lets him stay out late at night. And Clark's response is, Damian's dad also goes out at night and gets 2 concussions a night, weekly. I think I fucked that quote all up, but it doesn't matter. You get the basic idea of it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. We weren't supposed to talk about Injustice for that little stretch there, but since Addy wanted to go ahead and mention Joker's hair, I should go ahead and mention that Joker's hair is one of the only hairstyles you can actually change in the game. And you can get classic Joker hair. He also has a variety of hats.
All much better than his hair.
Yeah. Like, some of them are kind of goofy. Like, he can get a flat build cap, which I think it fit. I think getting a flat build cap for Joker fits because Joker's whole thing, one of Joker's aspects of his personality is generally his disenfranchisement with society, so he often tries to parody modern cultural trends. So for him, it makes sense. I think he can get a jester cap. He can get a top hat. I think now he can get like a newspaper boy hat too, thanks to the legendary update. So Joker's got one of the best customization selections, I think. The only issue is his chest piece, because there are only really 2 shirt options, but there are a load of like ammo belt, and suicide belt selections. But we weren't even supposed to talk about Injustice. Let's go back to Soul Calibur 6.
Yeah, so it has got out of review.
Yeah, and I'm happy with that, because I think Geralt, we've talked about it before, Geralt fits way fucking better than most of the crossover characters they've gotten.
My only problem is that if they continue with how they did it in 5, then I won't be able to put Geralt in clothes that I don't hate. I really do not like the freaking Witcher clothes. I'm not sure why.
What, just basic chainmail?
No, it's the chainmail mixed with the leather, I think, is my problem. It just looks goofy on him for whatever reason, for me.
I think it looks more or less fine. Like it's definitely a medieval armor design, but it works for making him more slim and agile looking than most medieval type characters. But I think that given what we've seen of Tekken 7 allowing you to customize all the crossover characters, Soul Calibur 6 is probably going to let you customize Geralt. Now, like Akuma, I haven't seen Geese or Noctis's customization options because I haven't bought them. But Akuma's customization options are pretty limited, so Geralt's probably will too. But you'll probably get the selection of like Geralt's gear from the games, where you'll be able to dress him up in the different suits of armor and give him the different hairstyles that he has in the games.
And that's still a lot more than what they did to Ezio, because you couldn't even put him in different color palettes from the Brotherhood.
Yeah, that was definitely more a time where they were more scared of the people that they were licensing back then. Which, I mean, with Star Wars, it definitely made more sense that they'd be even more stringent about the license, because that's a 40-year-old movie franchise. Ezio was a bit dickish, but I mean, Assassin's Creed is a much bigger franchise than Soul Calibur, so, I mean, I guess it would make sense.
Yeah.
But we talked about Geralt on a previous podcast, so there isn't. We probably shouldn't stick on that one too much.
Yeah, so what else do we know? We know that Mitsurugi is young. We know that Ivy is in the game, and that's about it. Aside from Siegfried, isn't it?
Well, we know about a good chunk of the roster now. We know there's Mitsurugi, Sophidia, Zoslamel, the weird.
Oh right, Zaslamel.
Yeah, the weird pretty boy edgelord type character that they're introducing, which. That's kind of a moment where I thought Zwei was fucking goofy in Soul Calibur 5, but if they just wanted a goofy anime edgelord with douchebag hair, they should have just kept Zwei and retconned him into the previous entries.
Yeah. What was that new character's name? Does anyone here know?
I do not.
I forgot it. I forgot its existence. So
I forgot his name, and I've forgotten what style of fighting he uses. Like especially
Magic.
Shonen.
Yeah, and I think he yells darkness in every other move. So that's the kind of character we're getting.
So
Yeah.
it's Reaper.
They,
Another freaking guest character. It's just Reaper without the Grim Reaper costume.
and without the self-awareness.
Or that.
I definitely don't remember much about him. I do remember that there a video that revealed him also revealed Killick, and that for some reason Killick will be getting a super mode in this game, a kind of evil mode, which is weird for Killick.
Is Killick still just the freaking weapon master?
No, that was just a Soul Calibur 5 thing, because the idea was that as Killick got older, he learned every weapon.
But then they could have just made him, or
We're back to
I
young
don't know.
Killick. We're back to young Killick, so he's back to just using the bow staff.
that's good because the guy they replaced him with was annoying.
The little kid that was obsessed with meat.
Yeah.
Right, and didn't it turn out that little kid was like Killick's accidental son with some other woman other than Zhanghua?
I don't know.
I think that Killick had two kids. He had the one daughter with Zhanghua. What was her name? Shang Liang?
I don't remember anybody
Probably.
about.
I think what they did
Um,
was Killick had a Killick and Zhanghua finally slept together and conceived Shang Liang, and Killick left the next night like a fucking deadbeat piece of shit, and then and then later had a son with another woman that wound up being almost exactly him, but being more of a food obsessed asshole.
so he basically made Monkey D. Luffy.
Uh, the character did have a lot of monkey mannerisms, yes. Which it was supposed to fit because it was a Chinese character and he wielded a bow staff, so the idea was like a Sun Wukong kind of
Yeah.
thing going on. So I'm glad that Killick's back. I'm glad that Killick isn't a deadbeat piece of shit.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
find it funny how the guy who I always thought was supposed to be the main protagonist of the story and was Mr. Peerhart just abandons his little infant son the very next day.
Abandoned both of them.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess the idea was that Killick was still tainted by Soul Edge at the time, so he was worried that he'd kill the kids. But then that raises the question of like, doesn't it travel in the blood? Because like
Yeah.
Sophia's kids are infected by Soul Edge because she was
Yeah.
so close to it. So Killick's
That's the real reason he left. He was scared the baby was a demon and that the baby would kill him instead.
yeah, the baby just launches out of the crib one day and dives straight through his chest.
Yeah.
In Soul Calibur 7, we find out about how many women Killick's killed with his radioactive semen.
Oh my god, that does raise a question because we never see Shanghua in Soul Calibur 5. And we never even find out who the mother of the other kid was. Also, is it just me, or is it kind of weird the idea of Killick just going around and sleeping around with women and then booking it? How many kids does Killick have?
All of them.
All of them. The entirety of modern China is descended from Killick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Yeah, Killick I always liked because Killick was different. Where Soul Calibur and Tekken both have this thing where they introduce a new hero and then he turns out to be an asshole, and that's the way they tell their stories. So I mean, Killick turning out to have some asshole traits isn't too much of a surprise. But I feel like Killick already had some degree of moral depth simply because he has that aspect of him, that aspect that went crazy at the temple and murdered all the other monks.
Yeah.
And so there's always that kind of question with both Zhanghua and Sung. Didn't it turn out? Didn't it turn out that like one of the monks was Shanghua's older sister or something, and that was why Killick was so obsessive about her?
Maybe?
It was
I
I
either
don't
don't
know.
remember.
it was either Shanghua or Sung Mina's older sister. Which, good fucking lord, can they bring back Sung Mina? It's been forever
Yeah,
since
I
we've
miss
seen.
her.
Yeah, it's been forever since we've seen Sung Mina. I miss like the entirety of the rosters of Soul Calibur 2 and Soul Calibur 3. Why did Soul Calibur 4 have to ruin everything? Like Soul Calibur 5 tried to recover it, and the gameplay of Soul Calibur 5 is way fucking better than Soul Calibur 4's. But the roster was shit because they replaced it with all the kids, but the kids were just identical to their parents without any of the story or interesting elements.
Yeah, and then you also had the immortals like Raphael
Yeah,
and his girlfriend, and also Mitsurugi, who will never die.
yeah. What's the point of doing a time skip if if most of the characters haven't aged? What's the point of a time skip if we don't get old man Mitsurugi, old man Raphael, old woman Ivy? I mean, admittedly, it's Japan, so they're never going to have an old woman character in a fighting game because they're fucking, what's the word? Whatever, I'm forgetting it. But they're like that was definitely a big question with Soul Calibur 5, especially because the developer revealed that they just chose the passage of time at complete random. They just said, "Oh, we just were like 37. That's how many years have passed. 37." Or something like that. Probably not 37. Probably not 37 because Patroclus doesn't look to be 38 or 39 years old, but you know.
The thing with Ivy is that she's already as old as time. It's just that she hides it really well.
Well, no, Ivy's not that old, if I'm correct, because the games take place in about 1600 is when the games take place, right? And
I don't know.
and yeah, I think it's 1600 because the it was kind of a goofy thing with Ezio that he was getting thrown 100 years forward in time. But Cervantes is a pirate, which those were definitely very recent at the time, and he had a flintlock pistol merged with the sword, which of course never happened. But a flintlock pistol also would have been a fairly recent development.
Yeah. He's already got it mounted in his sword.
Yeah, because
I mean,
it's the power of
that,
Soul Edge.
that technically, Ezio could have been alive still at the point of Soul Calibur 5 then, if... Or wait, it was 5, 700 or 1600?
Uh, 5 would have been 1600 or like 1620.
Okay, then he would have been still alive. He would have been in Constantinople, though, I think. Either that or like 60 years old.
Ezio was 40 in 1500. He would have to be 140 years old to live to see 1600.
Okay, then I'm probably freaking misremembering my dates, because I think he did live to like 1602 or something, but then that's when he died at 60. So
Unless there's some biblical shit going on, I don't think that's what happened, because Brotherhood was set in 1504, and Ezio was already like 40 at the time of Brotherhood.
yeah, I'll need to check the dates then. 1 second, I'll look it up. You can continue while I do that.
Yeah, with Soul Calibur 6, I'm definitely mostly just hopeful that since it's set between Soul Calibur 1 and Soul Calibur 2, we'll see Soul Calibur 2's roster brought back.
Yeah, that's my main hope as well. Is after 3, maybe I just lost interest in the series. 4 didn't look interesting, and the guest characters were kind of a big turnoff there. And then 5, it's like they replaced 75% of the roster with the new clones, and I didn't even get 5. I've never played it in any capacity because I was not on board with their ideas.
Yeah, I mean, there's some parts of the roster of Soul Calibur 2 that I'm comfortable leaving behind. I can live without Necrid and Charade. I think anyone can.
Yeah.
Alright, Necrid, we got a character who is literally just everyone else's moves copied and pasted. And Charade, who is pretty much the same as Olkadan, Weapon or Edge Master, Killick in the later games.
That's the new character,
I
Edge
had
Master.
forgotten about Naked.
Yeah, I don't blame you, because I remember being confused by him as a kid, because he was this fucking Ted McFarlane design out of nowhere. Todd McFarlane.
Yeah.
Ted McFarlane's his brother. He's a little bit less awkward. Which
I miss Olkadan.
Olkadan I can live without, because Olkadan was a goofy owl person with no explanation. Like, why was there an owl person in the bottom of this? What was it where you'd always fight him?
Labyrinth.
The labyrinth. Yes, right. And I always remember in Soul Calibur 3, I was never able to unlock him because it was a fucking pain in the ass.
He was in 2?
He wasn't in 2, no.
He was not in 2.
3. He was in 3.
Olkadan was only in 3.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I had all of the roster at one point, but then my game won't play anymore, so...
Yeah.
I mean, it's a Soul Calibur tradition to have a character that just flips between the different movesets, a character that's basically a random button. In the same way that Tekken has Makujin, which the fact that Tekken 7 doesn't have Makujin is confusing as fuck. But, I mean, they should probably just stick with Edge Master, because they threw shit at the wall so many times with Charade, who was a weird fucking assembly of parts that they never explained. Olkadan, who was a weird owl person that they never explained. And then the fucking Spirit of Soul Calibur, whoever it was from Soul Calibur 5. Do you remember that thing, Addy? What her name was?
Bloody hell, that was like Algol or something. That was the boss from 4. There was the Edge Master and Killick, and then there was like a fourth one. Right?
There was there were a few hidden characters in there like that. I don't remember. I remember Algol being the most well hidden because you had to get to a certain level to unlock him, and there was not enough content in the game to easily get to that level.
Did you? I have him from the start, I think.
Oh, I never unlocked Algal. Was he a pre-order bonus then? I thought the pre-order bonus was the fucking jester trickster guy, the thief.
I bought the game like 5 years after it came out,
Oh,
so he probably wasn't a pre-order bonus either. I
well,
don't know then.
I never unlocked Algal because he was supposed to be like locked until your profile hit level 50 or something. I thought it was weird that they even brought Algal back in the first place because he very much just seemed like a Soul Calibur 4 exclusive gimmick. In the same way that we haven't seen, what was Zoslimel's big evil final boss form from Soul Calibur 3?
It was
Again,
the
Revenant or something?
what was that?
No, Revenant was his sidekick, the guy with the skeleton.
Yeah.
Abyss.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's what it
that's
was.
right.
Yeah, like
Some sort of hell monster. I couldn't remember the name.
yeah. We haven't seen Abyss since Soul Calibur 3. He was an exclusive Soul Calibur 3 gimmick. We haven't seen Night Terror since Soul Calibur 3 either. We haven't seen Inferno since Soul Calibur 2. Like, every Soul Calibur game has this weird, awkward final boss that is never acknowledged in future games. So the fact that Algal actually came back for Soul Calibur 5 was weird. But
Yeah, the pre-order bonus was Dampierre.
yes, that's who I figured it was. Which, that seemed really strange, because didn't Dampierre have a hidden blade like Ezio anyways?
I think he did.
Huh. But, yeah. With Soul Calibur 2, like, I really don't want for Soul Calibur 6 for them to introduce any new characters at all, honestly. Ordinarily, I wouldn't be the kind to say, please don't change anything. But the one new character we've already seen seems like the kind of hot garbage that would come out of Soul Calibur 5, and I do not want any more of that.
Yeah. Totally agree with you there.
I mean, like, Soul Calibur, part of what was fun about the earlier Soul Calibur games was that they were a Japanese fighting game series that didn't have the obnoxious Japanese traits, like that kind of character.
Yeah.
So yeah, I looked it up, and the guy, or well, the girl you were thinking of, wasn't actually an Edgemaster character. It was, or it kind of was. It was called Elysium.
Right.
It was basically Angel.
Right, and they had this whole thing where Killick would switch between the different movesets of the different guys, and Elysium would switch between the movesets of different girls, and Edgemaster had access to both. Right?
Yeah, I think so.
Right. I forgot Edgemaster was in that game too. I don't think I ever unlocked him either. I didn't get very far into Soul Calibur 5. I beat the story mode and didn't bother with anything else.
I tried playing the arcade mode, but it was, well, let's just leave it at the game is the game was obviously centered around multiplayer, and we all know how much multiplayer I play.
Yeah, it is usually a bad sign when the arcade mode doesn't have any endings. Which did Soul Calibur 5's arcade mode have endings? I don't remember.
No, I don't think it was. I think it was more like the Ghost Battle from Tekken.
Yeah, you mean the treasure battle?
It's the same thing. It's
I
literally the same thing.
I do not know what Ghost Battle is. I've never heard it referred to as that.
Have you played Tag 2?
Yes, I have. It was called Treasure Battle there.
No, it was called Ghost Battle.
No, it was Treasure Battle. I remember.
Treasure Battle is a new thing.
It's the same way in Tekken 7 as it was in Tag 2. I remember that for sure. There was no fucking Ghost Battle. You don't fight any fucking ghosts in Tekken. God.
They are called ghosts.
No, they aren't. I guarantee you. Oh, damn it.
Is this a regional thing or what?
I wouldn't assume so.
Okay, I'll look it up. I looked that up as well.
Yeah,
Just so we'll know.
I can't look shit up to support my arguments because my keyboard makes a fucking loud ass noise every time I type. But yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and ask Pink, who are you most hoping returns for Soul Calibur 6?
Oh, geez, that's an excellent question. Because Ivy and Killick are already returning, and those were probably my two most played. I really enjoyed Maxie's playstyle when I was younger. I don't know if I'd have as much fun because he seemed I don't know, easy at the time for me, which is why he was so accessible.
Yeah, Maxi goes from this spot where when you first start the game and you're just hitting buttons, Maxi is easy. Once you actually
Yeah.
try to start putting technique into it, Maxi's one of the hardest in the game.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that feeling very well. Um,
Bullshit! It was not called Ghost Battle in Tekken Tag 2. I'm gonna get my fucking I'm gonna get my fucking copy of Tekken Tag 2 and I'm gonna put it in the Xbox, and I'm gonna fucking check that shit, cause I've got it right here. I'm gonna do it right now, right fucking now.
It was called Ghost Battle. If you go into the freaking single player game, that's like the first or second option.
I still don't believe you. I firmly remember it being Treasure Battle. Damn it.
No, Treasure Battle is a new thing. The difference between Ghost and Treasure Battles is that you can't actually choose your opponent in Treasure.
Okay, what the fuck game did I have in... Oh, Persona, okay. Yeah, for me, honestly right now, I've already got most of the people I actually play in the game. Like, Cervantes is one that I play a good bit, so I'd like to see him be put in the game.
yeah.
I'd have to imagine he's a guaranteed one, though, because he's one of the only characters that has actually been in every game since he was introduced.
Yeah, I don't see them taking him out either. Especially with how unique his weapon set is. I don't think they want to get rid of that.
Yeah, I don't think...
One person that kind of sticks out that I'd like to see back in is Talon, but at the same time, it takes place in between the games, and she'd be like, what, 9 years old if she were to return?
Probably. That's funny that you say that, though, because I was about to say, like, Cervantes is guaranteed, so instead I'm going to say Talon.
I hate Talon. Wind! Bloody hell. She used to annoy me so much in 3.
I'm fine with her, because, again, it kind of fits in the spot of Killick, where everyone else is kind of an asshole, so you're relatively fine with Talon just because she is a relatively actual altruistic character who wants to help people, you know?
Yeah, but I didn't have a problem with her aside from the constant yelling of wind. Really. That's the annoying part that I found too
Everyone
much.
repeats the same sayings when they're in the...
Yeah.
Like, she says that, and, like, Nightmare is like, give your soul to me, and Siegfried says something about how he feels bad about killing a lot of people.
Yeah. Fighting
But
games do not leave much in the way of dialogue. Come on now. They've got, like, maybe 60 full lines of dialogue in there, and the rest of it is grunts.
Oh, what the fuck? It is called Ghost Battle.
I told you.
How long has that been going on in front of my face and I didn't notice?
For however long you've had Tekken Tag 2.
That's about 3 or 4 years.
So about 3 or 4 years then.
Jesus Christ. That is crazy. Yeah, for me with Soul Calibur, like, admittedly, I don't even play Talon that much. I mostly just want Talon back because she's one of the characters I remember most being one of the defining characters of Soul Calibur 2. And the fact that she wasn't in Soul Calibur 5 at all was just weird.
Just old cat lady told him.
Especially with the age, not age gap, but the timeline jump. It's like that would have been like a perfect opportunity to use Talon again, but to remove her completely, it makes no sense.
Oh, I mean, the thing is with Bandai Namco, I think that they probably would have cut Talon out, and they cut Zhanghua out of Soul Calibur 5. Like, the only returning chick in Soul Calibur 5 is Ivy. Cassandra, Sophia, Zhanghua, Talon, Sungmina, they're all gone. And I think that's very much... Well, Tira's back, but she's immortal anyways, because she's Nightmare's minion or whatever. But I think that all of the chicks...
Harley Quinn.
all of the chicks did not return because in Japan's purview, women are supposed to be attractive. Old women are unattractive because Japan has an association of youth with attractiveness. Men can be ugly and still be put in a fighting game. Women can't. And Tekken has the same. Tekken has the same thing, because there's a huge time skip between Tekken 2 and Tekken 3, and the only characters to return from Tekken 1 and Tekken 2 to Tekken 3 are Nina and Anna because they both were in fucking cryo sleep, so they didn't age. I think it's very,
Wow.
I think it's very definitely like these characters will not return from older games just because Japan thinks they need to be attractive in order to sell them.
That's ageist.
It,
And
it
then
kind
there's
of is.
DOA.
Like I think there is something in gaming about that where like there's a character in Gears of War that's supposed to be a badass old lady, and there's Ana in Overwatch, and those are the only old women in all of video games. It's kind of
That's crazy to me.
yeah,
What
it
about-
is. And
What
that's,
about the Spider Woman?
who?
The Spider Woman, the person who I forgot her name, but the person who like guides Spider-Man sometimes. He was in Shattered Dimensions, so you know
That wasn't
Madam
Spider.
Web.
something.
Yeah, that was Madam Web, not Spider Woman. Spider Woman is
Yeah.
Spider Woman's usually assumed to be like somewhere in her 30s, I think. Also irrelevant.
Yeah.
Spider Woman is that one character that everybody says she needs to be in the Avengers movies, and I'm just like, why?
Yeah. I've never been a fan, honestly.
I,
Like,
li-
she's to me, she's one of the more one-dimensional characters in all of Marvel.
yeah, like the thing is, the closest she ever got to being interesting was that when Brian Michael Bendis was originally writing Jessica Jones, he wanted it to be a Spider Woman comic, but it was the same kind of situation Alan Moore had with Watchmen, where Marvel was like, "This is a great story. You can't do it with Spider Woman. It'll fuck the character up for years. So make your own character."
that explains why I was confused with two,
Yeah,
especially with the names.
Jessica Jones and Jessica Drew. No, wait, that's a different character, isn't it? I'm thinking of like
No, that's right. That's right. Those are the Jessica Jones is the character he used or made, and Jessica Drew is Spider Woman.
Okay, I was confused there for a little bit because I feel like Jessica Drew was like the protagonist of a series of teenage detective novels.
No, that's Nancy Drew.
Right. These are all characters I consider. Well, I like Jessica Jones, but those are two characters I consider irrelevant. So you don't blame me for getting them confused.
Yeah.
But what was I saying? What were we talking about? Right. Yeah, when people call for like more female Avengers and they use Spider Woman as an example, I'm like, really? You could get She-Hulk, but you want Spider Woman.
Yeah.
You could get fucking Was Moondragon a member of the Avengers back in the day?
Yes.
I-
Back in maybe the late 80s and early 90s, I believe she was.
Oh,
Maybe even through the late 90s as well.
I thought she was an Avenger during the 70s.
I think you're right.
Yeah, she would have been there for like the Korvac saga or whatever.
Yeah. All that space stuff. I believe the Kree Skrull War took place in the 70s as well, and I'm pretty sure she was a part of that. I think I'm completely wrong there. I don't think she was in the 90s at all then.
Yeah, I think it was her that read Korvac's mind and told the Avengers, like, hey, this guy was totally innocent and you guys made him commit suicide. Good going, fuckheads.
Yeah.
Which was funny because Moondragon was supposed to be one of the assholes of the Avengers.
Yep.
But it's easy to forget sometimes that she was an Avenger because due to her time in the Guardians of the Galaxy and her relationships with Drax and Quasar, you kind of associate her as a cosmic character.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's your little Avengers talk for the day. We got to get a little comic book talk in every podcast, don't we?
Yep.
I mean, it's
Gotta
just
be
obligatory. As far as bloody hell, it's just obligatory. Like my talking of Assassin's Creed at
Yep.
this point.
Yep, you got to shove Assassin's Creed into every podcast. You've got a little checklist that you need to hit. But all right, let's go ahead and move on to the next topic because we want to get this podcast out of the way, and it's already up to 40 minutes. So
Yeah, so let's get going.
all right, let's talk about Smite because we're about to play it in a little bit. So I've been playing Smite for about 2 or 3 years now. I'd say I'm pretty good. Mostly by virtue of the fact that I'm playing with Soon. Soon is a amazing Smite player. Like a fucking damn good one. And because of the way the matchmaking system works, when I'm put in the same party as Soon, the matchmaking system is based off of who is the highest leveled one in the party to make sure that, you know, people who are really skilled don't get thrown in with a bunch of noobs and just kill them all, right? So
Right.
this means that I get thrown in usually with the pros, which I'd say I'm still not great, but I'd say that getting thrown hard into it has helped me to learn quite a bit. And so I've got years of experience and have also played at the high level. You guys have just started a week ago.
Well,
Yep.
technically, I have like a week of experience from 1 year ago, before 1 year ago before we started doing this together. So yeah,
But
I'm not sure how much that would account for, though.
jack shit.
yeah, very little. I've got like a week's playtime of both League of Legends and Dota, and neither of them helped me to adjust to Smite. So, I mean, well, and it's going to be hilarious when we start playing on the Xbox in a little bit, because Soon is going to be starting at level 1, and Soon is going to be way more skilled than level 1, and it's going to be just pitiful seeing him shred random newbies.
Yeah, we're gonna smurf.
Yep.
Not on purpose, but we are gonna.
Yeah, I think the game's probably going to figure it out pretty quickly and try to shove us more into high-level games, in which case I will pity Pink.
Yeah, I'm going to just be cannon fodder for you guys.
Like I do anything that's useful.
Yeah. Well, right now you guys are kind of in an awkward spot where you're both maining mages, so you're both filling technically the same role on the team.
Well, I mean, if I can figure out how to use Thanatos better, because Soon told me to buy, attack,
Yes, there is a
quickening things.
there's a
But
certain.
then,
Oh, go ahead.
yeah. But then you said that I should buy things from the popular tab, and nobody bloody uses those. So
Well, I mean, the thing is, that is the popular tab goes for what most people build Thanatos as. I haven't seen Thanatos built as a attack speed heavy character. Most of what I've seen Thanatos built as relies on his abilities to finish people off. Because Thanatos' main thing is when somebody gets down to low health on the enemy team, he closes in and finishes them off. Otherwise, he doesn't get too involved in direct fights outside of like harassing with his scythe throw.
yeah, but that's not really good for me because I like to actually work.
Well,
Is a problem, I think.
well, the thing with assassin, the thing with every character is that when you don't have anything else to do, you always go after the minions. And I've noticed that like when you play Anubis, you do very well against the minions because Anubis is a fucking amazing laning character. But you with the assassins, I notice you never go for the minions. And for some assassins, like obviously, like they have a very hard time. Like Fenrir, I don't imagine. Does Fenrir have any attacks that like go in a straight line or cover a certain area?
No, he just has his jumping attacks and the buff.
Okay, so Fenrir does terrible fighting minions, which is very awkward for Fenrir because that pretty much cuts out all of his early game profits. But characters like Thor and Thanatos, who can throw their weapons, and Loki, who has the decoy that detonates, have those abilities specifically to help them kill waves of minions, which helps them pick up money and experience so that they can become stronger and be better at actually finishing people off. And I've noticed that you aren't hitting the minions very much, you're just focusing on the players, on the other gods.
Yeah, because being a solid DPS character most of the times, and basically just being a bait for tanks and all that, so the actual tank can come in and take the heat off of me. I tend to attack people rather than the AI, I tend to attack people that can actually kill me more than not. Is a problem, I think, because
It,
I'd
it,
say I'm pretty good at being the bait. The thing is that in this game, being the bait is not good. So
well, it's a learning experience for MOBAs because anytime you play a PvP game online, you're used to just going for the people and trying to get tons of kills. With MOBAs, you need to get at least some time in of focusing on the minions, not only so you can make money from killing them, but also so you can help to destroy the towers and push the lane forwards. Which, like I said, for a character like Anubis is very easy because he has a load of moves that can hit lots of people at once. So he can just wipe out entire minion waves with one or two moves. And Pink knows what I'm talking about as well because he's playing Raw, and Raw has that crazy space laser that will just wipe an entire wave of minions with ease.
Yep.
And failing that, he's also got his area of effect thing, the, bathe in the glue move, which also does pretty well for wiping out minions. And it actually, does that move heal your minions as well? I've never noticed that.
Yes.
It
It
does.
damages enemies and heals the allies.
I knew
And it works on.
I knew it healed allied gods, but I didn't know it healed allied minions.
It heals everybody.
Alright, so that's actually a really good move for laning. Because a lot of other characters run into the issue of, they can wipe out the enemy minion waves, but then they have trouble preserving their own. And I mean,
But yeah, so the biggest problem is that I'm trying to take Pink's spot while also not being a healer, I think.
well, it depends entirely on your setup. Because you should probably have a support character on your team, but nearly every class outside of Assassin has a support character. Because Raw is a support mage, and you've got, a support warrior in Ganyu, or a support guardian in Sylvanas. And Anubis very clearly is not supposed to be a support character, outside of, using his mummy stun. That move, the move I'm sure you're aware of at this point, where you can wrap people up and stun.
Mummify.
Yes, that one's very helpful for fighting alongside teammates, because you can stun people that are fighting your teammates and give your teammates the advantage in a fight.
Yeah, usually I actually do it when people are coming at me, and I put down my area of effect thing, the hands. I freeze them there, and then I go and breathe on them, and they die. Even the tanks sometimes.
Yeah, that's definitely what you're going to do most of the time, because mages like Anubis are terrible at close range, so you need a panic button to get out of their range.
I'm not getting out of their range. I'm walking right up next to them so that I can kill them. I'm based around lifesteal. So.
Oh, okay. Anubis is you base Anubis around lifesteal?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. I've never played Anubis before, so I don't know how you're supposed to build him.
Well, that's his popular thing as well. He's just based around lifesteal and doing more damage so he can get more life back.
Okay, that definitely makes sense, because the thing is with Anubis is that he's got a lot of very damaging spells, but most of them require him to stand still, which is a good way to get your ass kicked. The mages are definitely the most diverse group, the most diverse class, because you guys play Anubis and Raw, and there are huge differences between Anubis and Raw. The only thing they have in common is that they're both good at wiping out minion waves. Other than that, Anubis is very damage heavy and focuses on taking on players, while Raw is more focused on support, of course.
Well, yeah, and then one's a dog and the other's like an owl, I think.
Yeah, there's that. I mean, the mages are all over the place. I mean, Pink's played Aphrodite, and Aphrodite is entirely focused. Aphrodite is the Smite equivalent of Mercy from Overwatch, where she sets up a beam connection with another player and just spends the entire time trying to support them and make them stronger.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, have you noticed with Pink? Have you noticed that all of Aphrodite's moves have different effects whenever she's linked up with her teammate?
I just figured that out the other day.
Yeah, that knockback area of effect thing she has will apply not only to her but to her teammate if she's linked up with them.
Yeah.
Using the birds heals your teammate, and if you kiss the enemy gods, then your team's gods get buffs to damage dealt to that god.
Yep. I think a couple days ago I went into the little god menu just to see what all their abilities were, because I didn't want to keep getting thrown into matches and trying to figure out what buttons I'm pressing and what they'll do. So I actually went and read what they will do. So that's how I figured all that stuff out.
Yeah, I've been playing Smite for years. It still happens to me, because the free cycle is always going on, and it will always happen for me where I'll play Assault. I'll have 30 gods unlocked that I know how to play. It'll set me up with the one free cycle god that I don't know how to play. The especially funny thing is when you spend that first 5 minutes panicking how to figure out this character, and then you wind up doing really, really well with them. Like how Addy ended up with Anubis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we'll definitely have a lot of fun with Smite. Right now, Pink is having the issue of he needs another main, and I keep saying
Yeah.
it over and over because I think Sylvanas would really work well for Pink. Soon doesn't. Soon thinks Sylvanas is a bit advanced, but I think Sylvanas is the kind of straight support character that would work very well for Pink.
Yeah. One thing I want to do eventually in Smite is not be restricted to one class of support and whatnot. Because while I am naturally inclined to play a support character in a game like Overwatch, the team's not going to be screwed if I can't be a support because I can play other classes very well. It's like if Mercy's taken and another healer is taken and I have to play DPS, I can do any of those guys just fine. I can play tanks quite spectacularly at times. And defense is defense, and that's not really an issue. But with Smite, I don't want to be restricted to just the support class. I'd like to be able to not be a one-trick pony and try out other stuff and get good at other stuff so I can fill any role that needs to be filled.
Yeah, that's what I generally try to do with Smite, is I want it to be good with any role that I can do. At least partially because in the case of Soon, like Soon plays Guardians, but he plays aggressive Guardians. Like he Soon plays almost entirely Guardians, and he plays them all like assassins. So I try to make it where I can fit into whatever role I need to. So I mean, we're gonna have 4 people to the team when we play Smite, so we're not going to run into too many issues of, other players joining the team that are wild cards.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Addy has the assassin and mage roles that he can fill, and Soon and I both have a lot of experience with the game, so we can try just about whoever. So I mean,
I have the assassin and the assassin mage mode.
yeah,
Roles filled.
yeah. Which, speaking of assassin mages, you should probably look into Hades sometime because he's one of the cheapest characters on the roster, and he is very much an assassin type mage. But for your part, what are the only gods you've unlocked? Aphrodite, is she the only one you've unlocked? Pink.
I've also got Artemis.
Artemis is very good. I think you'll like Artemis. Have you got to play her yet?
Yeah, I've played her a bit and I've really enjoyed her so far.
Yeah, she's not a support character at all in the complete opposite direction, but she is she's very still conservative playing in the same way that Raw is, but she's much better at actually killing gods and not just minions.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the funny thing with Artemis where she doesn't really have a whole lot in the way of abilities. She's got her weird vine trap, and she's got her thing where she can speed up, but she still turns out to be really amazing in the late game, in spite of it. She's also got that boar, which is fucking annoying. You ever play against Artemis and have her pop that boar and the boar stuns all 5 members of your team? That is a good way to stop momentum on your team. Because, like, yeah, pushing the base. Oh, well, we're stopped. Okay, yeah, go home.
Yeah, I need to start playing the game more aggressively because I'm very conservative with my ultimates. Like, I never ever use them at all. Because I'm so used to playing Overwatch, and those ultimates are very situational, especially as a support character where my ultimate is very dependent on what the enemy team is doing. So I don't use an ultimate in Smite ever, and that needs to change a bit.
Yeah, Smite is definitely a use it if you got it situation. Because there are some this you're going to pop so many ults because the games last so long, and the ults generally only take about 2 minutes to recharge. So you probably should pop as many as you can just to give your team the advantage, because most of the ults are really, really good. There are some ults that are more or less useless, but there's a lot of them that are really, really good. I mean, Addy, every time Addy uses Fenrir's ult, it's really good because he can pull somebody out of a good, safe position and put them into a position where we can shred them. Or alternatively, I don't know if Addy started using this strategy yet with Fenrir. He should absolutely try it. Using his ult to drag somebody under a tower so that the tower can shred them.
I haven't been using Fenrir since I got Thanatos and Anubis, so...
Oh, okay. Anubis' ult is a little bit awkward. I think it does a lot of damage, right?
Anubis' ult is basically his breath attack only from his eyes, and
Right.
with a lot longer range. So
A longer range, but without the area of effect deal, right?
yeah,
Okay, so yeah, his ult is also very, very situational because you cannot use it unless you're in a very secure position. But it does enough damage to make up
actually,
for that, right?
yeah, and you can also create the situation for yourself because if you lock someone in a place with the audio of effect and mummify, then you can just kill them straight then and there. And then if people come to try and help him while he's there, then you can kill them as well.
Yeah, I've not played much of Anubis, so I'm not spectacularly knowledgeable about him. It just I've just been able to observe him in a lot of games.
I've wiped like half teams like that playing against the bots.
Ooh, jeez. With Thanatos just has Thor's ult, right?
Yeah, it stores ult only.
Better.
Well, I'm not sure. I mean, it has a longer range because you can actually move around while up, but it has a shorter decision-making time.
Yeah, that sounds right. And it also Thor's has a big area of effect, right? Where Thanatos's doesn't.
What?
Thor's has an area an AOE, right?
Thanatos does as well. I think it stuns them like Thor's. I think.
Oh, huh. I didn't even know Thor's stunned them. That's interesting. And for now, the most awkward ult I've ever seen is doesn't Aphrodite's isn't hers kind of weird where it just applies a buff to whoever she's linked to?
Yes.
Yeah, and there's some characters that don't even have ults. I believe. Oh, RDO doesn't have an ult. The button with her that's associated with the ult is just her button to switch between bear form and human form. And I want to say there's one other character who does that. I think it's Ular that also does not get an ult and instead just switches between his melee and ranged modes. So there's some definite variation with that. Not all characters have ults, but I think we definitely have a better chance of getting good at Smite than we do at getting good at Rainbow Six Siege.
Because you don't have to aim.
Yeah, you don't have to aim. It's more about figuring out your character, figuring out an appropriate strategy, figuring out your loadout for him. And it's more focused on teamwork as well, whereas Siege is very much reflexes and your ability to and muscle memory. A lot of that.
Yeah.
Like the most teamwork you get in that game is with the gadgets and having other people die for you, so you can figure out where the other enemy is.
Yep, there is. I definitely remember at least one occasion where we were fighting in the that Christmas museum level or whatever, and I was hiding.
Cafe, I think.
Yes, I was hiding in the corner of a room that was like some kind of jewelry showing room or something, and Pink was Jaeger, and Pink was sitting in the doorway, and I was sitting and waiting for Pink to get sniped so that I could figure out where the people attacking us were from.
Oh.
I think then I accidentally stepped my foot out and got shot before Pink did. So that was real helpful.
That figures.
But yeah, Smite is going to be a lot of fun. Let's go ahead and move on to the next topic. There apparently was a new Breaking Benjamin album out.
Yes, there was.
Okay, I haven't listened to it yet. I'm probably not going to listen to it because Breaking Benjamin has like 3 songs I like. Which, I mean, it is a lot because most bands generally only have 1 or 2. But how do you feel about it?
I really, really love it. Came out this past Friday, the 13th. So that's always exciting when something happens on that day that doesn't involve murder. But I was able to listen to it at work because I work grave shifts and nobody's going to yell at me for listening to music. And one song didn't download before I left home, so that was kind of peculiar to come back home and listen to it again and hear something entirely new. It's like, what the heck is this?
I can imagine, yeah.
Yeah, it was kind of mind-blowing because it's like, what? This wasn't here before. Well, yeah, I've listened to it a couple times already, and I really enjoyed it. I think my favorite song on it isn't even a single from it or a hit from it or whatever you want to call those things. And that's usually the case with the music that I like, where the album will always have a song that doesn't get radio play that I feel should have been picked instead of something else that they went with.
Well, there's always the cases where something is just more radio friendly than another song, you know.
Yeah, that is true.
I mean, and there's lots of cases where you're a big fan of a band, and a certain song fits very much into that band's, wheelhouse, and you like it as being, that band personified. But if you showed it to anyone else, they'd be like, "What is this?"
That's true.
And of course, there's sometimes just odd cases where everybody else likes a certain song and you don't. Like with Metallica, this most recent album, everybody actually really liked it, even though modern Metallica is shit, and I didn't get it. It seemed just as shit as regular modern Metallica to me.
Yeah. I actually don't listen to much Metallica at all. They're like the one band that everyone seems to love that I just know a few songs from and never just got on the bandwagon for it.
With Metallica, they've got 7 albums, but only 2 or 3 of them are really worth listening to. But those 2 or 3 albums are among the best.
Nice.
They did really well for a limited time frame, and then outside of that time frame, it's shit. But yeah, Breaking Benjamin, that one's kind of a strange band to talk about that they still exist, even for me, because for me they seem like very much a early 2000s thing that kind of fits very awkwardly into the modern day, you know?
Yeah. Their first album probably came out in 2001 or something, which is kind of crazy.
I would have thought late 90s, but I mean, it is kind of what happens though with a lot of the musical acts, that they keep going well past when they're relevant. I mean, the fucking Rolling Stones are still making music, right?
If they're not all dead at this point, probably.
So far as I know, Mick and Keith aren't dead.
Terry Funk joins them on their never-ending tour.
Yeah.
Becomes their new singer. I mean, he did sing at one point, Terry Funk.
Yeah, but I'd imagine it was country.
Yeah. We really need to have a freaking team listen to Juvenile Delinquent by Terry Funk. Or Barbara Streisand's Nose, maybe.
Why are we talking about Terry Funk?
I don't know.
Why do we always end up talking about Terry Funk?
Addy has these designated checklists in his mind. Terry Funk, insult Witcher, talk about Assassin's Creed, bring up Naruto for some fucking reason, and he has to hit these checklists every episode.
It's like, what are those things called?
For me, it's just checklist. That seems like the most logical.
Yeah.
Though I'm kind of this whole episode, I've been having that real bad thing that happens while you're recording podcasts, where you're midway through recording a sentence and the final word is the word you forget.
Yeah.
Like you entirely forget. Like you can remember the meaning, but you don't know what word it is.
Yep. I'm getting that right now because I had a word that I had in my head that was perfect for the use here, and it just slipped my mind.
Oh, you know what? I thought of the word I was going to use to describe Japan. Vein.
Vein, yeah. Good one.
There's another
no
one.
No old people allowed.
Yeah. There's another term that I was thinking of that was, it's just when people care too much about what's on the surface. But I can't remember that one either. For fuck's sake.
Yeah.
But let's...
Next recording, we'll need to have a dictionary installed into Discord so we can look over words and their meanings, so we'll figure out what we want to say.
For curiosity's sake, that Breaking Benjamin album, is it very similar to the ones they've already released over the last 20 years?
I think it's similar, but also very different. I mean, the last album, the one before this, Dark Before Dawn, that one was really it sounded like a mixture of all of their previous albums meshed into one. This latest one, it's got the same general sounds as the previous albums, and one of the songs even has the guitar intro for So Cold mixed into it in a very new way. But
Right, and wasn't that like their most famous? Well, probably their second most famous song after the one with Mila Kunis in the music video.
I think in order of their popularity, it would be Diary of Jane and then I Will Not Bow, as
Oh,
far as I'm aware.
okay. For me, Breaking Benjamin is very much a song. You probably got like 5 or 6 years on me, and it shows particularly here because I remember Breaking Benjamin being one of the bands that my dad would listen to while we were driving in the car in the early 2000s, and I was a little kid. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I might look into this new album. I don't know. It depends on how quickly it goes up on Spotify. Which it probably already is, honestly.
It
Yeah.
probably is.
But nowadays, everything goes up instantly. So I'm pretty sure it's already on Spotify. It was available for pre-order like several months ago on Amazon and iTunes.
Oh,
So if it's not up on Spotify at this point, I would be shocked and awed.
you know
Do you
what?
want to check?
You know what's a weird? Well, I can look. I can check right now. I've got Spotify running. But you know what's a really fucking weird one? The first lead singer of Genesis, before it was Phil Collins. What was his name? Something Gabriel. Peter Gabriel? Yeah, Peter.
Yeah,
Peter
I
Gra-
think so.
Peter Gabriel is not on Spotify whatsoever. You cannot get any of his music on there, and I don't know why.
Yeah, that is strange.
Okay, yeah, the Breaking Benjamin album is already up on Spotify, so maybe I'll look into it, maybe I won't. I don't know. Breaking Benjamin is a here or there band for me, you know? Which is not to say that you're wrong for liking it. I'd hardly consider myself.
Oh no.
I know, like, in terms of knowing objective quality, music is probably the thing I'm worst about. In terms of I don't know what's quality or not. I know what I enjoy and I know what I don't enjoy, but I don't know anything about quality. I'm not a music expert.
Yeah, same here. Believe me, my taste in music goes from like hard rock to this stupid pop music that I probably shouldn't listen to at all because I'm a man.
At, at least you haven't started listening to freaking pop punk for nostalgia.
I
Lordy.
What the fuck is pop punk?
It's the thing between pop music. Well, it's poppy punk. Well, not really punk, but you know, it's like pop music with guitars. I guess it's like Avril Lavigne. Okay, not Avril Lavigne levels
Okay, I was
at the start, but yeah,
for a second there.
somewhere around Avril Lavigne.
For a second there, I thought you were talking about like Green Day, because what I was just mentally picturing was punk but popular, and Green Day was probably the most popular punk band. But no, Green Day's.
I think some Green Day songs fall under pop punk, but I'm not sure. I mean, what I know as pop punk is like Blink 182 and Sum 41 and
Oh,
like freaking Jimmy Eats World. I think
So
that's
Green
All
Day-
one.
those weird bands from the early 2000s.
yeah, Green Day would
Yeah.
definitely fit in there. I personally would almost put Breaking Benjamin in there, but they also kind of fit into the kind of new rock category.
Yeah.
But
Like-
so you say that pop punk is supposed to be garbage, Addy?
Yes,
Fuck
I
you.
went back. I
Fuck
went
you.
back to. I went back to listening to it because of nostalgia. Because yeah, I remember watching Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen movies with pop punk soundtracks.
Holy Jesus! What the fuck are you talking about? What I remember that music from was Tony Hawk. Like
My childhood.
I
Like I'm pretty sure that the music that I heard from those movies was freaking knockoffs. But I mean,
I think you're making things up. I don't think Mary Kate and Ashley would use fucking Green Day.
not Green Day, but like, you know, shitty skate park music is what I'm trying to say.
Man, I can't believe we're even talking about Kate and Ashley on the podcast. I hope that would never happen.
Addy can take us to some very weird locations.
Yes, to the deepest depths of hell, Addie takes us.
On the sixth string, here we see Mary Kate and Ashley Olsen, still
Yeah.
young.
Yeah,
Not for long.
yeah. They got the one sister that escaped hell to go join the Avengers. So good for her. But I love that kind of music. Fuck you.
I like it as well, but then people seem to hate it.
Well, I don't think that. I think you're thinking about the wrong thing. That may just be a Hungary thing. But like Green Day is generally aged pretty well. I know that for sure.
Yeah.
Sum 41, maybe people would see it as a little bit edgy because Sum 41 had the biggest penchant for just going hard and cursing and lots of that.
Yeah.
Blink 182 more or less exists nowadays. What I know of them, they seem pretty lax for a punk band that got as big as they did, so they'll always have points for that. Like I always remember about the thing I always remember about Blink 182 is when they were on some interview with Dave Grohl, and Dave Grohl basically talked about how he. You know what? I'm gonna go ahead and put a stop to that story there because it's mostly irrelevant. But basically, long story short, it was just Dave Grohl said that he started bringing his wife with him, his wife and kids with him on tour because he got tired of not seeing them. And Blink 182 all like laughed at him and said like, "Yeah, we wish we had Nirvana money too." And it was some whole thing where Dave Grohl says, "Well, you know, I hope you guys have Nirvana money one day," or something like that. Just some whole thing of basically like, yeah, Dave Grohl and Blink 182 are a bunch of good guys.
Yeah.
I like Dave Grohl. It's not popular on opinion on the forum, but I like Nirvana too, so whatever.
Yeah. I enjoyed Nirvana for the most part.
Yeah,
I do think Kurt killed himself before people could realize that he was incredibly overrated, but for the most part, I enjoy a lot of Nirvana.
oh, Kurt's vocals are horribly overrated. Like they're passable for the kind of music Nirvana was trying to make, but they're not quality. They're not good vocals.
Yeah.
I will say that Kurt was a good guitarist though. I definitely like the guitar work of Nirvana.
Hmm.
But moving on to the next topic because we're sitting at 100 hours. Oh my god. And
We've been here so long, we're all dead.
Yeah. No, marathon podcast.
an hour and 11 minutes. We can go ahead and tie up this last one because I know this is going to be a longer one for both me and Addy. What we've been doing in the last week, I'll go ahead and throw it to Addy first because I feel like he's probably been making a lot of progress with Watch Dogs and Witcher.
Yeah, so Watch Dogs I finished already by last week, so there's not much I can add there. The Witcher I've actually finished. Um,
So have you turned around on Geralt and the Witcher franchise?
I don't think that the game's as bad as I thought it would be. Actually, I wouldn't say that it's bad. It is definitely overrated. It is definitely overhyped.
Yeah, it's impossible for it to be anything other than overrated right now just because it is currently built up by its fans as being the greatest game of all time, which it very blatantly is not.
But yeah, what game came out like in what was Witcher 3? Like, was it like 2015?
Ooh, I believe it was, yes, either early 2015 or early 2016. I know it came out early in whichever year it came out. It was like
So yeah,
it was like an April or May game.
so yeah, I I'd argue against it being the game of the year for that year, but then I don't actually remember any games that should have taken the name. So and
Twen-
I'll take it over Undertale any day of the day, or any day of the year, rather.
Oh yeah, because it's an actual game that is about being a game and not a game about you're a bad person for playing games.
Yeah, and so I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Geralt still, but I like that with this game they actually gave you an option to not be an asshole.
Yeah, absolutely. I hear that's a big thing with this Witcher 3 is that you can make Geralt an actually really good person that you almost feel like you kind of respect or admire him at times.
So yeah, I'd say that The Witcher 3 is the best Witcher game probably.
Well,
But
considering
Geralt,
that considering the fucking mess that Witcher 1 was and the kind of confusing awkwardness that Witcher 2 was, that's not a high bar to jump.
so yeah, and I'd say that The Witcher 3 is a good game, but I'd give it like a 6 or a 7 out of 10.
Okay, I thought you said 6 out of 7. I was like, okay, so that's the scale we're going with today.
No.
I what I've played of it, it seems like it's a quality game, and for that alone, I'd probably put it at an 8. Because for video game, I don't know. Maybe it's just because the modern critical use of scales is fucked up. Where now 6 or 7 means this game is mediocre, where it should mean it's on the good side.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, for me,
if you
for
read,
me it does. You go ahead, go ahead.
yeah, for if you read Xbox Magazine or PC Gamer Magazine, like I used to about 6 years ago, like it was always comical that If it was 5 or below, it meant the game was horrible. A stinker. So that's kind of the awkward thing about using these rating systems. But
Yeah, with how I use my scale in reviews and all that is that anything above 5, well, 5.9 technically, is good, and anything under 5 is bad. 5 is mediocre. 5 is where you don't want to belong. Because, below 5, you might be shit enough to be fun.
yeah, that's the whole thing.
Above 5, you will be good. So
I heard a thing. I heard someone say something the other day that I thought was really neat. When you're going in to watch a movie or play a video game, you want either a 10 or a 0. You know?
yeah,
Because 10 is fun because it's so good. 0 is fun because it's so bad and you can make fun of it.
yeah.
Which, I tend to... Whatever, let's just move on.
Okay.
What did you particularly...
So yeah,
I've heard a lot of talk about Witcher 3, like the choices you get to make and like the ending. And I'm going to assume because it's Witcher, they at some point are like, hey, here's the 2 waifus. Which one do you want to fuck?
Yep. That's
Yeah.
the thing. You get to choose between what I assume is the first game's waifu, who is Yennefer something or other.
The black-haired chick?
Yep.
No.
And then
She was a big part of the novels, has not been in the games until this one. I
Oh.
remember that. The first,
Well, yeah.
the first 2 games,
Yeah.
the redhead was the love interest in the first 2 games.
Triss was the waifu in the first game as well.
Yes, the first and second game, she was the love interest.
Wow, I thought it was a thing where if you played the first game, you can choose the black-haired chick, and then you can choose Triss if you play the second.
Nah, the first game had a choice where you had to choose between Triss and the thin, like the almost anorexic thin girl. What was her name? Shawnee. And
I don't know her.
I think she shows up at some point during Witcher 3. I think I heard about that. But there was a whole awkward thing with Shawnee because in the books, Shawnee is underaged. And they didn't acknowledge it in the game, but in the books, like, yeah, that's a thing.
So yeah, there's that option or that choice. I chose Triss because Triss is a good person. Yennefer isn't. Yennefer is a nagging asshole.
Well, I heard that Yennefer was, like, manipulative or something. So
Yeah, manipulative is a good way to put it. Yennefer is, well, you haven't played Assassin's Creed Origins, but playing through Witcher 3 made me realize how much they stole from Witcher 3 because Aya is really just Yennefer as an Egyptian.
Yeah, Origins definitely had an issue of it tried to copy Dark Souls and Witcher because they were what was big at the time of development. So there's that.
So yeah, yeah, and the same way Aya throws away Bayek for Cleopatra, Yennefer throws away, well, basically everybody else for, I guess, finding Ciri and also serving what's his face, the king. Also, apparently, Foltest is dead, I think.
Yeah, now we're getting to territory where I don't recognize the names.
Yeah, I think Foltest was the king guy from the second game, the guy you had to help, and I don't remember him dying in the second game, though he might have. I don't know.
Well, the subtitle of Witcher 2, Addy, was Assassin of Kings.
Yeah, but the whole conflict of the game was that people thought that he killed the king and then he didn't. So,
I don't know. I'll probably play through Witcher 3 sometime myself.
yeah. So from what I've played, or the ending I got, I think there might be multiple endings.
Well,
But with the ending,
it's a modern RPG. It's safe to assume there are multiple endings. Yes.
Yeah, so with the ending I got, I don't know if Ciri can actually die by the end, because it's implied, but she didn't die on my game, so I'm gonna assume that she can't. And after she returned, freaking Geralt just moved away with Triss to Kovir, where Triss served as like a king's like advisor or something. And they lived happily ever after.
Okay, spoilers for anyone who hasn't played Witcher 3 yet. Retroactive spoilers.
I mean, it's just one of the possible endings if you go with Triss and you also choose the things that I chose. So,
Yeah, I guess. But
Because yeah, I could spoil a lot of things, but even if you go with Triss, there's like this thing where you can make all of this be none, basically. Just make it into nothing. Yeah, as for other games, to move on with the topic, I played, well, Ghost Recon Wildlands. It's still boring. I played a bit of Skyrim because that's free for the weekend. I downloaded a lot of mods for it, and even still, Skyrim couldn't hold my interest for that long. So yeah,
Skyrim has aged terribly. I mean, it makes sense because it was a game that had no story, no real notable gameplay features, any of that. Skyrim was a game that at the time sold itself on its free roam capabilities and its, how beautiful everything looked, even though the world was huge. And now that we've got much bigger tech advancements, Skyrim is not nearly so impressive as it once was.
so yeah, I played that. I played a bit of Injustice 2, which we talked about, so there's no need to go into that again.
Well, we
And
can talk about that. You and I played a couple matches, and I absolutely lost my shit.
yeah, we couldn't do anything because the game lagged so hard, so I beat Dabja's ass
To be
because we lagged so hard.
to be honest, I'm not. I've got years of Injustice play on you, and I still lost. And I'm not gonna lie, like at the time, I was blaming lag and the controller and all the usual gamer. I don't feel like blaming myself things. With the benefit of hindsight, it very much was just my fault that I lost. Which leads into my own topic, my own thing to talk about. If are you done with what you've done the past week?
I think I am. Yeah, I am. Go ahead.
Okay, that leads in on my end. I picked up Street Fighter V 2 years ago for like $10, only a couple months after it had released, which I had rented it actually at the time of release. When I rented it, I was like, this is great gameplay. There is not nearly enough content here to justify a $60 purchase. And then a couple months later, picked it up for $10. It was cheap, it was easy, and I played it for a little bit, and it's still like, yeah, there's not enough content here to hold my attention. Just about a week ago, on a whim, I decided to re-download it again. And it is incredible. It is an actual $60 game now. If they would have put this out immediately, this would be worth the $60. It's a great fucking game now. And I'm not very good at Street Fighter. Never have been. And Street Fighter 4, I was like spectacularly bad at. I was not able to get even the most basic combos down in Street Fighter 4. And now I'm trying to actually get good at this. It's a great fucking game that I want to really. This is the first fighting game I really want to get good at. And I'm actually like getting into. There's this thing on the Street Fighter subreddit called Geef's Gym that is basically just devoted to breaking the game down into its most basic elements and forcing you to relearn everything over again and practice it until you really get it down. And I'm actually having a ball of a time here trying to actually get good at fighting games. So I'm having a lot of fun on that part. And who knows, maybe I'll do something on my channel for Street Fighter V if I eventually get an Elgato. We'll see. I mean, last week I said I was probably going to end up starting a Psychonauts Let's Play, and I never did. So, don't believe me, I'm a bullshitter. I also, of course, been playing Smite with you guys, played Injustice 2 with Addy, got my ass beat. I think there was a movie I watched recently, but I don't remember what it was. Shit, it's probably irrelevant. And that's roughly what I've been doing for the past week, other than shit tons of schoolwork. So, Pink, what has been going on your end? Other than your septic tank fucking exploding.
Yeah. Thankfully, that's mostly over with.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah. Those are not fun times, but last week I said I wouldn't be watching WrestleMania because my schedule changed. I lied. I watched WrestleMania anyway.
Like on your phone at work, or did you just skip work?
I skipped sleep.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah. So, I got about halfway maybe through the show. It's like I went to bed right before Nia Jax and Alexa Bliss had their match, which is kind of terrible because that was one of the few matches I was actually looking forward to. Like after Nia and Alexa, the show just isn't worth watching anymore.
Oh, I can
They
definitely-
Nia Jaxed it, you could
WrestleMania
say.
should have just ended there.
Yeah. With modern WWE, it exists. I remember when I was watching WWE and everyone talked about how the Divas matches were the ones that, you went to do a bathroom break or make a sandwich. And modern WWE, it's like they should just have the women's matches. Because the men's matches are shit.
Yep.
In modern
I know-
WWE, you just get sandwiches sent out to you with the network subscription.
I'd pay for that.
Oh yeah. I know Wild said he wasn't a fan of Asuka and Charlotte, but I do think they had a pretty good match. It was
Asuka's...
most notable for its finish in that Asuka finally lost.
I think in that case, Ted's always been opposed to people who their main gimmick is that they go on a big winning streak for a good reason. Because it worked out terribly for like Goldberg and whoever. And it wound up screwing over a lot of people because Goldberg, on his winning streak, got fed a lot of promising aspects, and their careers were destroyed because they got fed to Goldberg. And of course, Goldberg accidentally crippled Bret Hart. Whoopsie doodles.
Yeah. Asuka is no different because the NXT women's division used to be thriving really well, and then once she got on her winning streak and she became the main focus of NXT down there, the women's division just died, and it's still in recovery because of her.
And she also crippled Bret Hart. Whoopsie doodles.
He stepped back into the ring to wrestle Asuka. It was a whole weird, like, kind of dream sequence. We're not sure if it actually happened or not.
Yeah. It should be noted that we have not seen Bret Hart since, so, who knows what's up with that.
Yeah, it was actually a casket match and nobody told anyone. Speaking of, aren't they bringing back fucking Taker for a casket match?
They are.
Yeah.
It's against Chris Jericho because, like, Rusev retweeted WWE's tweet about the casket match saying, "Bury me, brother."
What?
I read something about that. Like,
You just provide information with no context whatsoever, and it always confuses Alex.
I need to check up on it or something sometime. But yeah, if I remember correctly, I read something where there was Taker was supposed to have a casket match against Rusev, but then Rusev retweeted WWE's tweet about the casket match or something, saying something like "Bury me, brother" or something, and then they removed Rusev and they added in Chris Jericho, and Rusev is trying to get fired or something, he wants to get out of his contract or something like that.
You filled in the spots that I could have figured out myself, so I'm still lost. Like, why is "bury me, brother" a bad word for WWE?
I have no idea.
Okay, well, let's just assume it's something behind the scenes and the "bury me, brother" part is irrelevant. Whatever. I'm good with Rusev leaving, because I always get it confused. I always think Rusev's the one who broke Tyson Kidd's neck and not Samoa Joe. But I still don't like Rusev, because Rusev's just a big guy. And
Samoa Rusev.
Yeah, and his gimmick isn't interesting to me, because, like, they could almost go for big, manly Russian, but he's not even Russian, he's Bulgarian.
Yeah.
And it'll always feel hollow, because Bulgaria is a country that's mostly irrelevant to American audiences. Most of Eastern Europe is just a mess to us. It would, what would be funny? If they actually pushed Rusev as, like, an Eastern European mercenary gimmick, like, make him Nico Bellic.
Oh.
Nico Bellic was terrible.
His gimmick, his entrance starts with some other Eastern European wrestler asking him to go bowling. He rolls into the ring like a bowling ball. His finisher is
he's mostly round.
I'm invoking the spirit of Addy here to make a long stupid joke, but his finisher, like, he lines up, he starts in the corner, and then he rolls into a ball and knocks the opponent over like a pin.
You say that, but I said that Neville's finish should be Kano's cannonball attack from Mortal Kombat, so...
Yeah, I was actually thinking of, like, a Blanca ball from Street Fighter or a Melina ball from Mortal Kombat. Rusev is nothing to me. He is just another big guy, and he's not one with a particularly colorful personality. And his gimmick was mostly just foreign heel, which, I've said it again, foreign heel gimmick. I don't like it. There's nothing you can really work with it long term. It's just, oh, I've got a different accent, hate me. And that's never worked for me, and I don't think it really works with modern audiences that well either.
Well, what with Lana wrestling now, I guess they can switch the tables and then, or turn the tables rather, and have Rusev be the manager for Lana, make him like an overprotective boyfriend or something.
They've done that plenty of times. I'm pretty sure that was Snitsky's gimmick with Kelly. No, Mike Knox.
Yeah, I was about to say Mike Knox. That was exactly who I thought of. You know what they should do? Now that Lana is wrestling, they should turn the tables and fire Rusev because Lana was the best part of him. Like, I'm not going to be heartbroken about this. Rusev was a guy I didn't like. I'm going to, no matter what, be like, okay, good fucking riddance to bad garbage.
Yeah. They fired Rusev and hired Vladimir Putin.
I thought you were about to say Vladimir Kozlov, but then you went wackier with it.
Yeah, make him like the next foreign heel. He actually has some power, so you know.
I actually would crack up if they. You remember the match they had years ago? It was a stupid fucking guy in a Hillary costume, or a chick in a Hillary costume versus, who was it? Was it Trump or somebody? They had a Trump imitator and a Hillary imitator or somebody fight in the ring. I don't remember when or why.
I don't remember this at all.
Me neither. I remember Dolph Ziggler being like the KFC guy.
No, this wasn't like around that time period. It was like around 2008. Let me look up. I'm trying to look it up on my phone here because I just remembered that I have a phone, so I can actually look things up now. And they did some match where they got political imitator, political. Okay, there was definitely. I've definitely got a picture of a Hillary impersonator here. Oh my God, when was this? Okay, in about 2008, they had Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama impersonators fight in the ring.
Okay. I don't think I saw much of WWE in 2008, so that explains a lot as to why I don't remember it.
I think it was like a dark match or something, and that's why it's still kind of an odd myth of the wrestling industry. So, Addy, can you look for a picture of this match and put it in the forum chat? I'm not in the forum chat. What am I talking about? The chat here.
I can check.
Yeah, this is something I actually want to put as the.
So what should I search for again? Like just search a freaking Barack Obama versus Hillary Clinton WWE match or something.
Probably, yeah. That probably would be it. I actually want to put this as the temporary thumbnail of the video.
That's bloody hell. The first or the second bloody thing that comes up is Barack Obama versus Hillary Clinton WWE. So
I think it started the search engine has adjusted to your insanity.
No, because then it would just write in Japanese, I think, at this point.
Maybe. An even mix of Hungarian, English, and Japanese.
I have no idea where I could find. Like I'm seeing pictures from the video games of Google the Cooker freaking eliminating Barack Obama, but I'm not finding. Okay, I found one picture. It's on WWE.com.
Oh boy!
Holy shit!
Oh joy! They're proud about it this time. Oh man. WWE is simultaneously too self-aware and completely lacking in self-awareness in the most hilarious ways. Where they'll push a stupid gimmick on screen without thinking, but at the same time they'll be like, "Hey, remember the gobbledygooker? Remember how stupid that was?"
So yeah, here's a picture. But if you want, I can send you the whole album because there's like 15 pictures here. Actually, that's 13.
Find the funniest picture. Just find the funniest picture and put it in. Oh boy, right. It's coming. It's coming. The suspense is killing me.
I found it, but bloody hell, I need to refresh because freaking WWE's site sucks. 1 second.
Addy's computer exploded. Folks, you're gonna have to wait a little bit longer for that picture. Blame Addy,
I mean,
not me. Even though I'm the one editing.
I'll send you a couple. Here's one where
Oh,
you can kind of see them.
Oh my god.
There's one better.
Okay, so Umaga, or as William Regal would call him, Umanga, came out and beat them
Yeah.
both up.
Yes.
That-
Or there's this. Or there's this. That's good.
Okay, that either Hillary scoop slamming Barack or Barack giving the rock bottom to Hillary is what I'm gonna use, I think.
I mean, there's Hillary doing a freaking Hulk Hogan leg drop on Barack Obama.
I have to wonder like what it was like for the impersonators who were paid to do this.
Or actually, you know what? Just use this. Bloody hell.
Oh boy. Oh my god. Is that a prosthetic ear they put on him?
Yes.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, just bloody hell, look at the whole freaking album at this point.
Imagine being a Barack Obama impersonator, and the WWE is like, "Hey, we want to bring you out. We want to put a big stupid prosthetic ear over your ear, and then come out and wrestle a Hillary Clinton impersonator."
And then get squashed by Umaga.
Yeah. Get beat up by a crazy Samoan dude named Umanga.
See that big Simone over there with the crazy face paint? He's gonna come out and kick your asses once the segment is over. Are you fine with that? Okay, go on out there. But wait! This is not what I signed up for!
I thought this was a kids event. I said I do birthday parties, not wrestling matches. This is the kind of stupid bullshit. Like, there's a certain level of stupid bullshit that both WWE and Japan are known for, and it gets worse over time. But once it gets past a certain point of absurdity, it just becomes awesome. This is the great kind of stupidity. It ruins every storyline that happens on the show, guaranteed. Like the people who are in the audience to see that, for them, the rest of the Raw show is ruined. But for us, who are able to view it without context, it's hilarious.
I thought you were going to say that this is the Great Khali.
Hey, why is Barack Obama 7 feet tall? I don't know. Why is Barack Obama's legs broken? I don't know.
Why is he a broom?
Basically, no. You know it's a Khali match when Obama and Hillary come in, and then the Punjabi prison comes down from the rafters around the ring. Oh god, remember that? Remember how the fucking people on the forums used to clamor for it and say it should be in the games? This fucking match that happened once should be in the games?
Yeah, it's happened once more this past year when Jinder was champion.
Okay, because
Jinder Mahal.
Because
They
Jinder
brought it back, and it was just as fantastic as you all remember it.
Oh boy. Well, this time at least they'd have one. Not both guys in the ring would be crippled this time.
Yeah. It was Orton who is, competent when he wants to be and fantastic when he can be, but most of the time just doesn't care. And then you had Jinder, who is mostly not competent enough, but confident enough at the same time to get through a match. And it was just terrible.
Oh yeah, I can picture it. I mean, Orton, I haven't seen Orton in years, but I'd assume he's slowed down quite a bit ever since Brock Lesnar broke the fuck out of his neck.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, I note this every time Brock Lesnar comes up, but, like, by my record, which admittedly isn't a great record because I haven't been watching too much WWE, but every single match Lesnar has had since he came back, way back in 2012, he has injured his opponent. It's absurd.
Yep.
But I think that's a good note of stupid bullshit to end the podcast on. We're sitting at an hour and 40 minutes, and I am ready to play some Smite with you fools. All right.
Sounds good to me.
See you later, folks. Bye.
Bye.
Pink, say bye, you impetuous asshole.
Goodbye.
There we
go.
Good.